Well, good morning. Hi. So Jesus said in Matthew 5, "You have heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of the Father in heaven. He causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and he sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you are to love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are there not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only those your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even the pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect." So, to endeavor to mirror the perfect God, we have to love our enemies, huh? Let's take a look at a few images. Ooh, this is going to be a hard one because Jerry Sandusky makes my blood boil. But I think it's safe to say that these gentlemen made choices that made them an enemy of humanity of sorts. Yeah? Okay, so we've defined that. Now let's take it down to a more personal level. And because I'm kind of a hippie, I want you to close your eyes. And think about who you are most in conflict with right now. It could be a spouse or a coworker or a person on Facebook, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a friend. It could be something as big as a presidential candidate or an elected official. Who is considered your enemy, quote unquote, right now? Okay, now put that person's face in your mind's eye. Don't open your eyes yet. Now, imagine the intense love and the overwhelming fear that went into the creation of that person. According to Psalms 139:14, we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. Open your eyes. I know what you're thinking. Hitler, James Holmes, Osama bin Laden, those folks that are nagging in our head right now. So these folks were fearfully and wonderfully made, and what does that even mean? And how does that go along with loving our neighbor as ourselves? How does it help us love our enemies? Well, the only way I know how to truly explain that is from the perspective of a mother. When I first became pregnant and I saw those two little pink lines on that incredibly expensive pregnancy test, I had all of these thoughts go through my mind, and my stomach dropped, and for the first time in my life, I can honestly say that I felt this overwhelming joy and this devastating fear all at one time. Is anybody else a parent in here? Do you know what I mean? It's just that feeling. I had all these questions that started going. What was my husband going to say? Was I going to be a horrible parent? Am I going to kill my baby in my womb from eating lunch meat? Was I going to be fat as a hippo? I was going to get to go shopping. I was going to get to have this fat, chubby baby in 9 months. I just took a Tylenol. Am I going to have a mutant baby? It's true. All of these thoughts were going through my head. They were fearful and they were wonderful. And we're not even going to get into Babies R Us because they tell you if you don't buy the right car seat that you're a horrible parent and you could kill your kid. That's what they tell you. So it didn't end there. It just went on for the 9 months. And then it came time for the birth. And I can confidently say that most mothers have been haunted by the fear of either herself not making it through or the baby. When facing childbirth, it's a traumatic experience on the body, the mind, and the spirit. And I was no different. I was terrified. And then came the moment of my son's arrival. It was a moment of profound love and wonder. And it was immediately followed, again, by that devastating fear. You see, for 9 months, I kept him safe in my belly. And then all of a sudden, my heart, the love of my life, my soul, had to run around in the form of a toddler whose whole goal in life is to kill himself by jumping off of my couch. So it's fearful. It's wonderful. I can honestly say that my son was fearfully and wonderfully made. But here's the trip. So were our enemies. Can you imagine a world where the people understood on a visceral level that God created each and every one of us fearfully and wonderfully? Think about it. Our massive daily bloodshed, our wars, our selling children as sex slaves, our hunger, the situations that broke these men in the first place, they would be reduced to a fractional level. It probably wouldn't go away, but they could be reduced. It's an enormous idea, I know. But the courage of loving your enemies and abiding to restorative justice and promoting peace can take root right here, right now, with you and with me. I'm going to close by reading an excerpt from Julia Ward Howe's Mother's Day Proclamation speech, which she wrote in 1870 as a response to the Civil War. It's a call to action directed towards women and toward mothers, but it's still applicable to this beautiful disaster we find our world to be in right now. Arise then, O women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether our baptism be of water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caress and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and of patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe our dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men often forsake the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left home for the great and earnest day of counsel. It seems, dear friend, that today is our day of counsel, and our call to action is to mirror the limitless love of our Creator God and know that everyone is fearfully and wonderfully made. Love is the only avenue that we're going to find peace on. It's the only one. And so with that, and with all my heart, I say peace be with you.